So today I have 5 undervalued CGC 9.8 comics to recommend. And I always like trying to think of some undervalued ones. About a month or two ago, we had done another undervalued video. I'll throw up a link for that one if you want to have a look at a few more undervalued ideas. Alright, but let's get into it here. First one up is a New Mutants number 100 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, I think this one's looking like pretty great value right now. Yeah, sort of based on some of the recent sales prices I'm seeing. So in New Mutants number 100, you get first appearance of X-Force and first full appearance of Shatterstar as well. So I'm kind of surprised this one's not being as speculated on as much, with like, you know, Deadpool 3 coming for sure and MCU X-Men likely coming as well. So, you know, still staying a pretty decent value, maybe some potential with those first appearances there. So having a look on the census though, 1,183 9.8s in the blue label, 44.9% the 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies in the blue label, 44.9% of them are 9.8s, almost half of them. So not really a special 9.8 rarity in this one, but prices. So I saw one just sell in the last few days in an auction on eBay for $122.50. So I think, you know, given some of the potential of his first appearances, at $122.50, I think a New Mutants number 100 in the 9.8 is just, it's looking like a great value right now. Certainly fitting on an undervalued list. All right, next one up is a classic Punisher limited series number 1 in the CGC 9.8. This is pretty much like the 1980s Punisher key issue to get, basically. First solo Punisher comic as well. So certainly a key issue. It's a great collector item in the 9.8. Yeah, this one in sort of 9.8 rarity wise, it's much more rare than Wolverine limited series number 1. So having a look on the census here, 365 9.8s in the blue label, a 1 of 365 for, you know, Punisher fans just really want this one. It's, I think that's, you know, 1 of 365 is such a great collector item. 16.6% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8s, a nice, great, you know, teens 9.8 rarity. This is looks a lot better 9.8 ratio wise than Wolverine limited series number 1. So for Punisher limited series number 1, you know, it is a great key issue. The prices are perking up. I did see one on eBay sell for $1,095. I think that's going to go down as an overpay though. Interesting. You don't see too many of these sell. I'm not seeing too much sales information for them, unfortunately. Go Collect has it at $525. So I think, you know, Go Collect's a little bit behind. $1,095 probably a bit of an overpay. You know, you're patient, you wait for an auction for this one. I think $800 to $900 is fair and a great value right now. You know, just given there's just so many, you know, 9.8s over $1,000, and Punisher limited series number 1 is such a cool one in the 9.8. And if you can get it less than $1,000, I think that's looking like a great value. Okay, next one up here is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 51. Yeah, one I do have quite a few of. One I've really targeted as being an undervalued one, you know, almost from the beginning. You know, interesting on the census with this one in the 9.8, when I was kind of picking up mine, 3 of them here, I got 4 in the raw as well. This is, yeah, one I really targeted about a year and a half ago. There was only about, it was 10 to 20 CGC 9.8s in the blue label when I was looking to purchase mine. So this one's come a long way. It's first appearance of Jennika, this one. So that's, yeah, you know, Jennika basically becomes the 5th member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She's the first female Ninja Turtle. Jennika, first appearance in this issue. She's kind of like a Foot Clan soldier at first. And then Splinter kind of brings her under his wing and, you know, starts teaching her a few things. And in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 95, she eventually becomes a Ninja Turtle. But this is her first overall appearance. Now there is 146 CGC 9.8s in the blue label. So a 1 of 146. This one's come a long way in the last year or two. And if you notice here, like nowadays on the CGC label, it says first appearance of Jennika here. But I had purchased mine before they had begun labeling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51. So 76.8% is the CGC 9.8 ratio, so not a very rare one in the 9.8, but this one's going to be a little bit more lower printed than, you know, certainly like an Edge of Spider-Verse 2 or something like that. I think this book's kind of comparable to an Edge of Spider-Verse 2, them being, you know, first big appearances of female superheroes pretty much. So having a look at some prices. A few selling on, the most recent one selling on eBay for $650. So, you know, I'm not sure if that one's going to go down as an overpay, or maybe the market is really heating up here in the last little bit. Seeing one sell not too long ago for $499.99. So, you know, given that potential, big first appearance, I always thought there was some potential there. I was buying mine right around $100. One of them I paid like $77 for, or something like that, in an auction. But my other one was $100, and the other one was like $120, I believe it was. So this one's come a long way. Now there's, you know, $500 to $650, let's call the range. But when you look at an Edge of Spider-Verse #2 and a lot of other really popular female characters like a Riri Williams or something like that, I think there's still some upside here. And, you know, Ninja Turtles are just as classic as any other kind of superhero team or anything like that. So there is still some underrated potential, even though it's pretty expensive for a modern, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51 in the 9.8. So next one's a really cool 70s one that I think is undervalued. And I think the timing's pretty good to think about buying it. It's a What If #1 in the CGC 9.8 from 1977, this one. Goes back quite a ways. You get a brief origin of Spider-Man and Fantastic Four in this one. But I like the cover of, you know, those classic superheroes. I think this is a really cool collector item. As well, I think the promotional outlook is looking really good. Like, I'm pretty sure they're coming out with that What If show. You know, certainly that was, I know, you know, the Disney Marvel had their announcements there, and they teased that quite heavily. So What If #1 from 1977, great collector item too, 143 9.8s in the blue label, a 1 of 143, not too bad. 12.3% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8, so kind of a nice, you know, almost getting into the single digits. The lower the better with the 9.8 ratio. So that's not too bad for a 1977 comic. So recent sales for this one. Seen one on eBay sell for $565. Also saw one sell, getting back a little bit though. This price was $339.99. So I think that's going to be kind of the range. I think, you know, closer to $500 for this one right now makes sense. But you know, a few things to like about this one. I think I've actually considered grabbing this one in the past. Like, whenever I see it pop up for auction, I'm like, oh, if I can get that for a great fair price, that would just be an awesome one to have. So I think it's one you can enjoy, have a great pride of ownership, and then hopefully in a year or two, this What If show comes out, everyone loves it, and I think there's some pretty big upside to this one at that point. So I think What If #1 in the 9.8, you know, keeping an eye out on a fair value if you want this one is a good idea right now. Okay, last one. I'm pretty sure I did talk about this on a few other videos recently, but it makes sense to have her on an undervalued video. It's Marvel Comics Presents #72 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, Origin of Wolverine. One thing to clarify with this book too, you know, beginning the Origin of Wolverine, this has always been a pretty cool key issue, but it's kind of perking up in price. But I think you can still make an argument that it's a bit undervalued. But one thing to mention, I know X-Force #2, I believe it is it's the first appearance of Weapon X. But that Weapon X is like a villain. It's not Logan, you know, Weapon X type of deal. It's a completely different, you know, villain version of Weapon X. I'm not sure why they use the same name, to be honest. I'm sure it's all in the story because they are all sort of related in some way. But Marvel Comics #72, Origin of Wolverine, it's pretty much the first appearance of the Weapon X, Logan Weapon X, like that we all know. So just because I was talking to someone on the team that sort of on the surface thought that X-Force #2 was the first appearance of Wolverine Weapon X. Marvel Comics Presents '72 though, Origin of Wolverine's a cool one. 481 9.8s in the blue label, 45% the CGC 9.8 ratio, so not a, you know, crazy relative rarity or anything, and that's always kind of kept it decently affordable in the 9.8. This one's just running the full gauntlet of prices, and like the last 2 months, it's really weird. One literally sold for $100 in a buy it now. I'm not sure if someone just was falling asleep for the last 2 years and like now they're selling their 9.8s and had no idea how far the market has gone up. But that $100 is like a 2-year-old price pretty much. I remember I tried to buy this one for $100. Saw another one sell for $199.99. This is so weird. I saw another one sell for $499.99. So just going through the whole gauntlet of prices here in the last few months. I think you'd be patient on this one. It's still a good undervalued one, I think, under $300, or even, you know, right around $300 if you're the biggest Wolverine fan and you want this one. But Origin of Wolverine, Marvel Comics Presents 72, I think, fits on an undervalued list for sure. All right, team, a few undervalued ones there to think about. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.